Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the Final Furlong Podcast weekend preview. We are focused very much on the flat for the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas at Newmarket. The supporting races will touch on the Kentucky Derby because Adam Mills is all over that. I've got Adam Mills, Andy Newton and George Gorman to preview all of the big races for you, and we will begin with the Betfred 2,000 guineas, where the betting is headed by Field of Gold as John Gosden goes in search of his first guineas win. What a moment it would be if he manages to achieve that with his son Thady. He is 7-4, having won the Craven Stakes last time out. Ruling Court is the choice of William Buick over the European champion juvenile Shadow of Light. He's a 4-1 shot, and Aidan O'Brien relies on Expanded. We've got the Group 1 winner from Joseph O'Brien's yard, who's been having two winners at Punchestown today, Scorthy Champ. He's a 17-2 shot with Jeff Banks bet. I think we'll do a quick one round of yes-no game show. It's been a lot of fun doing this, so let's do a very, very quick round of it because it's only 11 runners. I'll begin with number one, and as soon as I say the horse's name, we'll go Adam, Andy, George, and then me. Horse number one, Benevento. Yes or no for the 2,000 guineas? Adam?
No.
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 No. Expanded.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. More on him to come. Field of Gold.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Green Impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Ruling Court.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Scorthy Champ.
Yes.
Yes.
I wonder who
Yes.
Andy's going to tip. George, that's a yes from you?
Yes.
And it's a yes from me. Seagulls 11.
No.
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 Yes for a place. Shadow of Light.
No.
No.
Yes.
Won't train on. No. Tornado Alert for Said Bin Sarur.
No.
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 Not a hope. Wimbledon Hawkeye.
No.
Place, yes. Just go, yes.
Yes.
No. Yamo Be There.
No.
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 Nah. All right, well, let's expand on it. So, Field of Gold. I'm a no because of his price. And also because the Gosdens have not won the Guineas yet. So, no thanks. And I don't really like the fact that he's a Guineas trial winner either, which seems counterintuitive. Although he was very, very impressive. So, Adam, let's get your thoughts on the Gosden horse. He deserves to be favoured for sure, but 10 of the last 12 winners of this race were winning first time out. And we've already seen the progression he's made from 2 to 3. But that doesn't mean the other horses haven't made serious progression as well. So, what's your overall take on him?
Well, one, I think he's too short, and I think his price probably reflects some recency bias of kind of, we were waiting for something really impressive to appear. Judmont have had 3 really impressive 3-year-olds, and he's the one they've chosen. That's why he's favourite. The Gosdens haven't won it, as you said. You know, if he drifted the 3s, I'd be much more interested. But I do think the one point about the Craven is that race did kind of fall perfectly into his lap. It was a really clever ride by Kieran Schumacher. But as they get to the bottom of the dip, Wimbledon Hawkeye's in front of him. I think it's Harry Davis, pulls the whip through, uses it on the left-hand side. The horse veers to the right. That creates a gap. Now, Field of Gold has got the turn of foot to go through that gap. He's the fastest final furlong, the fastest run-out speed. He's definitely seen it out better than the others. But kind of that gap appearing and Wimbledon Hawkeye moving out to his right perhaps flattered him a little bit. And if you looked at their sort of form, the 2-year-old form, Field of Gold has got a lot to find.
Yeah, I would agree and echo all of that. I thought at the time it was a brilliant performance, but it was a brilliant performance that required a bit of context. I didn't think he was going to be 7-4 for the Guineas. No, not interested at all. Andy, your thoughts?
Yeah, same really. I mean, I was a no, pretty similar to you really. I mean, the price, I mean, it has stayed fairly solid. I mean, I saw bits of 7-4 earlier. Whether it goes in shorter than that, we have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, like you say, Gosden's obviously never won this, and I just sort of I agree with what Adam said. Really, I mean, you know, it was a good ride by Kieran Schumacher. But I mean, you know, was it a great? Not really sure. I mean, a lot of these are going to, come on for that run, obviously. And that's why I think actually Wimbledon Hawkeye is probably a very decent price at 20-1 if you're looking for something for sort of like, just to hit the frame. But yeah, we'll come onto that one in a bit. But yeah, I just think, the last Craven winner was Halfed, I think, to go on and win the Guineas, which was back in 2004. So not many have done it. Last favourite to win quite a while ago, I think it was Churchill. So it's on a run of what's that, about 7 or so with no winning favourite. 2017, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, about 6 or so with no winning favourite. So and then I don't know. The other thing possibly to look at is the draw. I mean, it's drawn 10, and if you like your stats, I mean, 10 of the last 15 were drawn 6 or lower in the 2000 Guineas here. So I know there's only 11 runners here, so the draw might not really come into it too much. But the last 4 winners were drawn 6, 3, 1, and 4. So might be something to go on there. But yeah, look, I just think it's too of gold. I think that it's 2-year-old form. There's plenty to sort of pick holes in that with some of the other runners here, and just don't think it was a great Craven, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that the three of us basically are echoing on the same thing. We all like him. We all think he's a talented horse, but he's just too short, George.
Yeah, I think that's the long and short of it, isn't it? I like that he's had a run. Like, obviously, a horse that won this race last year, I think was having its 4th start of the season, 3rd or 4th, which I think is becoming an increasing sort of trend that some of these horses are. Well, he had his prep runs on the all-weather, but I thought he was keen enough early the last day as well, Field of Gold, and it just makes me wonder, like, this sort of environment, is he going to get lit up early, pull his chance away? And especially, like, I was going to make the point about the Craven as well. Like, it's a Derby trial, really, isn't it? I like to see them stepping up to a mile in the Guineas. I like to know that they'll have this early, with like the sort of early skirmishes and that. Whereas a horse that's already been up to a mile, obviously stepped up to a mile because it needed to. Do you see what I mean? If you could start the season over 7, you would. The reason they started over a mile is they knew he wasn't going to have the speed for 7. So that's why I'd be looking elsewhere anyway.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with all three of you. Good luck to them. It'd be great to see the Goslins win it, and it'd be great to see John Gosling win his first Guineas. And again, to do it with his son, I think would mean an awful lot. Great for Kieran Schumacher too. No, too short a price. So who's your pick going to be? Adam Mills?
Well, I'm going to have 2. I know Andy's keen on Scurvy Champ, so I'll let him make the case for that one. I do like Ruling Court, but I think Ruling Court might be the one for the St James's Palace rather than this. What he did at Meydan was really impressive. You don't see too many horses pulled out and find sub-11 second furlongs on the Meydan track. That was really good. I wonder if the Newmarket dips might just find him out with all his speed, and that form is probably not as strong as some of the horses he's facing. So I kind of went around the tables a bit. I do really like Scurvy Champ. I don't want to steal Andy's thunder. I also like Green Impact for a place. I thought Green Impact was the one that's too big. That form is, it's only a 4-runner race at Leopardstown, but a lot went wrong. He got involved in a sort of pace battle with Bernard Shaw, who was effectively the pacemaker for Delacroix in the race. Delacroix did a lot for that form afterwards, but I like Green Impact's attitude. He's headed a couple of times. He's still got himself back up. Now, look, a 4-runner champion juvenile stakes at Leopardstown is not the same as the Newmarket Guineas, but he's 16-1 because we haven't seen him since, and he's chained by Jessica Harrington. If he was with Ballydoyle, we'd be half that price. So he's probably a fair each way bet because I really like his attitude.
Yeah, that race has produced a couple of decent horses. Well, certainly over the years, but Diego Velasquez turned into a really good miler. He's going to be back this year as a 4-year-old, and Auguste Rodin obviously won it too. Delacroix has done plenty for the form. I would have preferred the other one. If Hot as Hell had lined up, I'd have been really, really interested in him. The futurity has turned out to be a really good trial for the Guineas, but Green Impact is the one, and he seems massively overpriced. For all that Jessica Harrington's horses are a little bit iffy at the moment. Scurvy Champ seems to be the main pick, though, for Andy Newton.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I can't really get my head around why it is the price it is. I mean, it's around, 8s, is it? 9s, maybe. I think it'll be shorter than that on the day. And you just look at, the form of it. Oh, season last year. It improved with every race. The form of its win at the Curragh last time out has obviously been frank with Henry Matisse going in the Breeders' Cup. That the National Stakes has been a decent trial for this over the years. And we've had like Churchill, Dawn Approach, George Washington, a few more. Glen Eagles as it used to bend. I think there's been like 4 or 5 recently that have gone on. So look, we've spoke about the draw. Realistically, you want to be sort of fairly low, but drawn 1. I think we've had a couple of winners drawn from the inside berth go on in recent years. I think that Galileo Gold, and there was another one as well recently. So I'm happy with the draw. Won first time out last season in May. So yeah, there's just a lot to go on. I mean, it's very similar to what you said about the Harrington horse. I mean, look, if either of these were trained by O'Brien, then you're looking at 4-1, 3-1, aren't you, for Scotty Champ? And you just think, why, Joseph O'Brien, possibly the best trainer that targets horses, over jumps and flat, and this will be in the target. It hasn't got a lot to find on the ratings, 116. So yeah, I just think it's a great value price. And the other one, I think, with the yes and no game we played is Wimbledon Hawkeye, only because look, it is consistent. I think it probably hit the frame. I don't think it's been out of the first 3 actually, is it? Course and distance winner. I think it will improve on that Craven run from last time out. So yeah, I think that's not the worst shout at 20-1 either.
He's not beaten far by the Line in Winter, and he's in front of Ruling Court in the Acomb. Now, that run requires a bit of context. I don't think Buick was very good that day, quite frankly. Sorry, William, he's catching strays here, minding his own business. But that was just a race I thought Ryan Moore stole on the front end. And let's see what the Line in Winter can do as we go forward. Very worried that horse is going to be lining up in the Dante. That's not a race Aidan O'Brien unleashes his elite 3-year-olds in. It just isn't. So if he was the elite 3-year-old, he'd be going to Chester. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still excited by him. Maybe they're going to the Dante because he's got York winning form already, but he might be more of a Jumpman International horse. But Scotty Champ is a Group 1 winning 2-year-old. I'll save my pick in a second here. This is becoming more and more obvious to me, but George, I'm fascinated to know who you like.
Well, you won't guess it because I was the only yes on the Yes No Game show for this one. I'm with Shadow of Light, and I'll address your concern, Emmet, that he might not train on. Not certain last year's winner really did considerably, did he? Remember, this is the last 2-year-old race of last season, is the sort of saying, isn't it? It's not the first classic of this season. And at the moment, it's sort of, I think is he the highest rated? I think he might be.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he beat Expanded in the Dewhurst. He's double the price. He's been campaigned like a Guineas horse basically since after he won at Yarmouth, when he went Newmarket Novice, Gimcrack, Middle Park, Dewhurst. He's been campaigned like a Guineas horse the whole way, which says to me they always thought he was one. The Dewhurst is a far more meaningful Derby trial for this than the Craven is. He's dual Group 1 winner. Yes, William Buick abandons him, and his mount has a run under his belt this season, which I've sort of said I think is a growing. I'd take a gamble that having 5 runs under his belt, the experience will stand to him here. And as for William Buick's mount, I never rate Maidan form going into these kind of races. I've said it before on here. I sort of almost look at Maidan form and Qatar form in general like it doesn't exist and they're having their first start of the season. Do you know what I mean? Because they come home, they don't tend to just carry on with their work. Like the travelling takes so much out of them that they stop and start again with them.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it as having a second run of the season. But like I say, he's been campaigned like a Guineas horse. He's running all the right races. He's had more runs than most of these. I'm just going to sort of take a chance that the experience and the quality he obviously had last season will be enough to win this, even if the others improve past him subsequently.
I'd have thought your Newmarket spies would have been on the WhatsApp group to you, telling you, don't go near this fella. Apparently he's working terribly.
I'm fine with it.
Well, he runs. Ancient Truth doesn't run. He does. And Miguel Barcelona is going to be on board, and he's been in great form. So yeah, why not? Look, he's a bigger price than he should be. And it's a big weekend for Godolphin. They've got, obviously, the favourite for the 1,000 guineas, who we'll talk about in a little bit, and they've got 2 big chances in the Kentucky Derby as well.
Charlie Appleby's on a 31% strike rate at the moment, I should have mentioned as well. 62% runners to form.
Yeah. First time tongue tie, is that a concern for you?
No, not particularly. It can only be a positive, isn't it? He's making a noise, and it's better he's got it on than off.
Touche, salesman. Touche. Earthlight. Would you say Earthlight trained on, Adam?
Just about. I think the problem with Earthlight was we all thought he was going to win everything, but he did. He won at listed level as a 3-year-old, so it's not. You can't take enough evidence to say Earthlight didn't train on, therefore this lad won't. But
and he's eloped to Vega as well. He's different, so he might be different. I feel like he'll win the Commonwealth Cup or go close in it, but I have no interest in arguing with George when he's putting up a 17-2, 8-1 shot, who's European champion juvenile, and has got red hot form as well. Expanded. This is blindingly obvious. Aidan O'Brien has won the Derby trial at Leopardstown, the Classic trial at Sandown, the Irish 2000 Guineas trial with Henri Matisse, who he doesn't consider good enough to run in the race. Camille Pizarro got beaten by a Curragh legend in the Big Gossie, needing his first run of the season. What I'm told is those horses are a couple of weeks behind. But not the Guineas ones. The Guineas horses are on the different training programs, so they're all much further forward. And I was disappointed to see Twain come out of this race. And then I remembered being at the Gravy Train Curragh launch. Aidan O'Brien was talking about Expanded at that. That's the horse he was talking about. He was saying, oh yeah, Expanded, all set to go for the Guineas, and we'll see. And sort of was like, we'll see with Twain. So it's kind of worked out that actually maybe their number one is coming to this race. He's only had 2 starts. The progression from first to second start last season was insane. He runs in a Curragh maiden, gets an RPR of 83 and a top speed of 62, jumps to the Group 1 Dewhurst Stakes, where he's the substitute for the Lion in Winter. He's a second string. Ryan Moore gets on him and he nearly wins the feckin' thing. And just gets downed by a previous Group 1 winner who ends up being crowned European champion juvenile.
7 days after his maiden win, you should add. But the reason I wouldn't back him is I'm concerned by the entries he's got. He's entered in the Dante, the Irish Guineas, the Epsom Derby, the St James's Palace, the Commonwealth Cup and the Irish Derby. Everything from 6 furlongs to a mile and a half. That, to me, would suggest they don't know what he is.
Yeah, I've seen this before, though. They've carpet-bombed entries before. But I take it on board. I would also mention it's 2019 since Aidan O'Brien won the 2000 Guineas, and Auguste Rodin was awful, and City of Troy was awful, and Little Big Bear was awful. But Little Big Bear is a sprinter. City of Troy was a middle distance horse, and so was Auguste Rodin. This fella's probably a miler. He's got the best jockey on his back, and he's trained by a legend, who's the winning most trainer in the history of the race. 11-2. Easy game. Expanded. Wouldn't be surprised if Seagull's 11 finished third or second, even. Wouldn't be shocked if he did. Tom Marquand, Hugo Palmer, he's got pretty decent form, and the Palmer horses are running well. Okay, final selections. Maybe a 1-2-3 for the Guineas. Adam Mills.
Scurvy Champ to beat... Scurvy Champ will beat Field of Gold with Green Impact in third.
Andy.
Yeah, Scotty Champ. I think the general consensus is completely against Field of Gold. That's the thing to take out of this, isn't it? No one's sort of bigging that up at all. But anyway, yeah, the top 3: Scotty Champ, Wimbledon Hawkeye is going to hit the frame second or third, and we'll go Ruling Court just because the boys in blue are flying at the moment.
George.
I'll say Shadow of Light to beat Expanded to beat Ruling Court.
Okay, Expanded beats Scorthy Champ, and I really want to say, because you're going to back me up there, I really, really want to say Shadow of Light, but I'm going to say Field of Gold. He'll be third. I can't wait for it. 2,000 Guineas. Let's find out who's in the winner's enclosure. It's going to be an absolute cracker. If you want to bet on it, how about Jeff Banks Bet? JeffBanks.bet. Use your promo code FFP500. This offer is going to run out very, very soon. But if you sign up now, you're eligible for 10% of any net losses back, up to £500 in cash after your first 3 months of betting. So if it's not going well, you're still getting a bit of cash back in the hand, and it's actual cash, not just fun tokens, actual real money refunded up to £500. 10% of any net losses back in cash up to £500 after your first 3 months of betting. jeffbanks.bet. Use your promo code FFP500. Sign up now. When it's gone, and it's gone very soon. The Betfred handicap, the 145 to kick things off for us at least. It's a race live on ITV. The betting currently is headed by More Thunder, who made a winning debut for the William Haggis team. Dropped in trip to sprint distances. He's a 7-2 shot. A Woodhay Wonder is 4-1. And Lethal Levi, who's probably going to win this, I would think, is a 7-1 shot. Adam Mills.
Sorry, I must admit I'm going to wave the white flag and chicken out of this one. This is way too tough for me. I had a long look at this. I couldn't find it. More Thunder got such a good ride from Tom Marquand. Yeah. It's hard to believe that's going to happen again. But other than that, I will make a cup of tea and wait for the 220, I think.
Yeah, you never do that, so that's okay. That's allowed, and I'm doing it for the next race. Andy Newton.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the key, that race where, More Thunder beat that a Ram and that Woodhay Wonder was back in third. There's obviously some weight pulls going on here. I think Woodhay Wonder's got a £6 better off with More Thunder, but the key probably is going to be the ground here. I mean, that day last time, I mean, it was good to soft. It wasn't bottomless or anything, didn't it? More Thunder. And Woodhay Wonder was out the front, and you just think that on the quicker ground that it's likely to be on Saturday at Newmarket, that Woodhay Wonder with the weight pool, with the £6 weight pool, could turn around that form for me. The other one that I just sort of had a little squeak on was the Balding Horse, only because they've won 2 of the last 4 of this. That Pure Sanger Way, however you call it, but he, or St Murphy's on it, had a bit of a pipe opener, I think, at Southall on the all-weather last time out. I don't think it even won a race last year, to be honest with you, but it's been running in a lot better races than this, and wouldn't be surprised if that pops up as well.
Who's riding him?
Huh? Who? Well, Mr. Dodgepot.
Who's riding him?
Oh, is he not riding him? Who's riding him?
What jockey's riding him?
Oisin Murphy, isn't it?
Oh, that's all right. Because you didn't say Oisin earlier on, so it's like, what kind of pronunciation is this? This is like Sky Sports' pronunciation of Irish footballers back in the day. Mark Kinsella. No, it's Kinsella.
Oh, right, no. Oisin Murphy.
That's all good. That's all good, brother. George Gorman.
I looked down the field and couldn't see anything. It was obviously well handicapped, so I thought it's probably a redo of that race we were just talking about. I ruled out Ram. He's £3 worse off with Woodhay Wonder and only £2 better off with More Thunder. And crucially, he was having his 3rd run of the season. The other 2 were on seasonal debut. So I figured the other 2 would probably improve past. And then from there, you sort of go, well, Woodhay Wonder's £5 better off with More Thunder. Where we go. And then we've got some stuff here, I think. Seasonal day. All of his RPRs over 92. There are 5 of them have been achieved on all weather or ground slower than good that a Ram. So that's another thing against him. More Thunder's proven on good ground, but has the extra £5 contend with. Woodhay Wonder, however, has had 4 wins on good to firm and 1 on good ground, so will be suited ideally by what is going to be at Newmarket. Slightly quicker than good, whether they call it that or not. And in his favour, Tom Ward has only had 4 runners in the past 14 days, but he had a 15-2 winner on Sunday. So I'm going to be on Woodhay Wonder as well.
Okay, I think Lethal Levi's got a massive chance. He shaped really well in his comeback. Apparently he's working very well, and he looked like a group class sprinter, if I could use my mouth words correctly, when he won the Air Gold Cup last season. Back on fast ground, back into a handicap. I know he's carrying top weight. I think he can just outclass these. And More Thunder, I suspect, will win a Royal Ascot handicap. And I'm not entirely certain if winning this race is conducive to him winning at Royal Ascot. That's all I'm saying. But best of luck to him. And he was very, very good last time out, but it was a great ride, as Adam said. The Betfred Suffolk Stakes. This is one I decided to go and make a cup of tea for, so I'm going to lean very heavily on the lads. The betting is headed by Hand of God for Harry Charlton with Ryan Moore in the saddle. He's a 3-1 shot. Godolphin have got Arabian Light, William Buick and Charlie Appleby 7-2. Approval is a 5-1 shot. Then Dutch Decoy 9s. Same price for Fox Legacy. First run for Andrew Balding. Oisin Murphy in the saddle. Adam Mills, what have you got for us?
Well, I like to get stuck into the 4-year-olds in these handicaps at this time of year. I think as they step out into their 4-year-old season, they have a bit of an edge. Still a bit of improvement open to them. The market has reacted to that and put 4-year-olds at the front. I can't really be having Arabian Light. I thought that Maidan race was just far too messy, and I don't think that form is going to translate in the same way. Hand of God would have been interesting, but he's been off since winning at Royal Ascot. They've gelded him. I just think there's a bit too much guesswork involved there. So I'm going to go with Approval. He was behind him, behind Hand of God at Royal Ascot, but that was really just because he won a Windsor Novice a couple of weeks before Royal Ascot by making all in a weak race. They then decided, he's a front runner. So we front run him in the Copper Horse and in the Copper Horse or the Golden Gate? The Golden Gate, sorry, at Royal Ascot. He went too hard. The winning time was below the standard. So he just went far too fast and blew out. He gets a weight swing, went to Goodwood where he's still a bit keen, but they managed to get him settled. I thought that a marker 92 was well within his range. I think Tom Marquand will try and get him some cover. And I think he's probably still got another £10 of improvement to come, which carrying 8 stone 12 at this level, he should be capable of winning off of.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Andy Newton, for you.
We're syncing up, Adam. We are syncing up today. Approval, yeah. I mean, look, I just hope it doesn't go off favourite, right? Because this has been a bit of a bad race for Favs, this one. 2 of the last 19 market leaders have gone in. But, like you say, I mean, that Hand of God, I mean, yeah, it was quite impressive at Ascot. But I'm not quite sure the form of that. I think a couple of the horses in behind haven't franked it and what have you. Whereas that Approval's obviously come out, won at Goodwood, and they're quite a stack of horses that finished in behind it that day. I think the second's won since, the third, the fifth, the eighth. So that form looks rock solid to me. First time out, no problem. Gone well fresh, I think, in the past. 4-year-old, you mentioned that. Backed up with the stats as well. 11 of the last 19 winners of this race have been a 4-year-old. And pretty much most of them, 15 of the last 19 have been 4 or 5. So realistically, there's only a couple of older ones in there, Dutch Decoy in that Sean. But look, Approval with the weight pool, with the form franked, Haggis in form. Just hope it don't go off favourite.
He might now. He might now. Can you follow that, George Gorman?
I took more of an each way swing in this. I just thought they're all sort of bunched up. And in this sort of a handicap, it didn't make a huge amount of appeal to me, backing straight win perspective. I've landed on Silver Sword at big price each way. He was second in a Group 3 over course and distance back in October 2023. And all 3 of his career victories have come on good to firm. He had a bit of an in and out time over in Maidan, but he did manage to win on, I think, his last start there. Considering it was only a 36-day turnaround from his last run in Maidan to his first run back in England, I thought he ran with a fair bit of promise. He was beaten 4 3/4 lengths at Newbury. Like, he made a move, got tired late on, but he did make progress ahead of that. He looked like a horse that either was still reacclimatising to England or had a good couple of weeks off in between those races. And so I think if coming on from that, he should be capable of going close up. He should be capable of going close up in trip, more favourable ground than he got last time. I think it was good to soft the last day. And off a mark that saw him beating a neck just 3 English starts ago.
I like that a lot, especially seeing as it's friend of the show, Dylan Cunningham, who's in good form. David Egan takes over from Jamie Spencer. He's a 14-1 shot from stall 13 right now with Jeff Banks bet. I thought Sean was interesting to a certain extent. I'm not sure I want to back him. He's got a lot of weight to carry. They obviously feel he's going to be able to win a big race. He's been backed several times before, and he's got a big swing of the weights with Arabian Light, who beat him in Maidan only by half a length. He's 16-1 and Arabian Light 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
The Osborne horse each way, but tentative selection. I'd be much more interested in what the 3 boys have to say. Although if he wins, I'll claim it as a nap of the day, obviously. Hong Kong Jockey Club World Pool Palace House Stakes. Oh, I've got one in this. Let's see what the boys fancy, though. The betting is headed by Beautiful Diamond for the Carl Burkyard. A 4-1 shot. Just gone 9-2, actually, with Washington Heights, who's been cut to that price. No half measures for Richard Hughes and Ryan Moore's 5s. Twilight Calls is a 6-1 shot in first run for Richard Spencer. Andrew Balding, Oisin Murphy with Tropical Storm. Clarendon House is 17-2 shot. 7 questions is 9-1 on the first run for the Robert Cowell stable. Adam Mills, who do you like?
Washington Heights in this for me. I like it. Yeah, you can see where we're going with this. Won the Aberdeen on his first start over here last season. Made all the running that day. I'm a little bit concerned he might get a bit of competition for the lead here, but he's had a benefit of recent run. George may not value form in Qatar, but I think it's worth quite a bit. That race in Qatar was really run at an absolute end-to-end gallop. The leaders went off like a scalded cat. The winning time over 6 furlongs was 1 minute 8 seconds, 0.7. Even on a flat track like it is in Qatar, that was fast. And he did all the donkey work to chase down the leaders. Got run down by Rogue Lightning. Rogue Lightning has finished second in a Grade 2 at Keeneland since. Yeah. The form looks pretty strong with Quinault and Ballymount Boy in behind him. We know he likes Newmarket. He goes well on his first run in the season. Everything just points to Washington Heights running a massive race.
He's won twice on the Rolly Mile. He loves Newmarket. This is a good thing. This is a good thing, and apparently working very well. Andy Newton, follow that up. Washington Heights might have got a massive chance in this.
Look, boys, it's all happening, isn't it? It's this, everything's aligning today, and look, that's the main one I came down on here as well. I mean, go on, Newton. It loves to track. I think its form's actually 2-2-1 on the Rolly Mile, so never been out the first two. One at the Craven meeting last year. I thought it might be a bit of a bigger price, to be honest, but it seems to have attracted a bit of support. I mean, it's almost sort of knocking on the favourites' door, isn't it? But yeah, like I say, that form in Qatar last time out, that's been franked since with that Rogue Lightning. So yeah, couple of stats here. 16 of the last 22 have been 5 or younger, which is pretty much most of them, but there's a few in there, 7-year-olds, Twilight Calls and that Clarendon House. But the only other one probably came down was that Tropical Storm as well. But just the Balding Yard, I mean, they had a flying sort of start a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? They've sort of come off a little bit now. If you look at their stats, they're going off a little bit, but that is probably worth looking at as well. It's a 3-year-old, but a 3-year-old won the race last year. So, but they're both similar prices. Washington Heights, though, I think that's all aligned. George, make it a 4. Come on,
George. Let's get this horse sent off favourite by you making it 4 in a row.
I say, first and foremost, it's not that I don't value Qatar form. I say, look, it's great. If they can perform out there, it's great. I just don't hold it against them. Form, and B, if they come back and run bad on their first start back, I sort of go, like, if a horse has 2 runs 3 weeks apart in England, you assume they've kept going with it. If they run in Qatar and then 3 weeks later they show up in England, he's probably had a week off at some point.
Yeah.
Because he's been on a long plane journey. Having said that, I like this Qatar form. It's Washington Heights.
Yes! Let's go!
He's one of only 3 that come here with a run this season. The other 2 being the outsider of the whole lot and an all-weather specialist. We've mentioned reasonable Group 1 efforts, beating less than 5 lengths in the Abbey, the Flying 5 and the Nunthorpe. And while he was beaten in Qatar, Racing Post rated it a £1 superior effort to his 4 1/4 length defeat in the Nunthorpe, where he chased home Bradsell, Believing, Starlust, Asphora and Pontos. Now that's cracking form. There is no rival of that level here, and I can't believe he's not favourite. I think with the advantage run under his belt, I think he could absolutely piss him.
And Kevin Ryan is what is he operating at? 28% strike.
28%.
So,
yeah, another further boost.
The story is he's working brilliantly. This is a great spot. And everything George just said about the Group 1 form from last season. Look at the horses he was running against. Look how well he ran against them. It's a Group 3 on a track he loves. Send him off favourite. Washington Heights. All 4 of us in agreement.
Can we just pause the show so we can all take the 9-2 before it goes?
Yeah. Let's just hammer Jeff Banks now while we still can. Let's just murder that price. Let's see this horse get sent off a 2-1 shot. And then we're all off to Qatar. We can go to Dubai. Yeah. A couple of friends of mine just went out there. We can meet up with them, but we'll go to Qatar first of all. And this episode brought to you by Qatar Racing. Send your horses out to Qatar. First of all, rev them up for the new season and then come back to the UK and sweep all before you. Qatar Racing. If it's good enough for Rebels Romance, it's good enough for your horse. Let's detour over to Churchill, to Kentucky. To Kentucky. I'm too excited. To Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby. It's going to be a cracker, and it's going to be live on Sky Sports Racing and on Racing TV on Saturday night at 11:57. I think I'm doing an American show on 10 a.m. Saturday morning, so we'll be well going by that point. There is betting from Jeff Banks Bet. I shall get it for you now. The 11-4 favourite is Journalism, who has been tearing it up stateside, and apparently he's looked brilliant in his work the last few days as well. His buyer figures are unbelievable. Sovereignty, a horse I really liked for this race not so long ago. He might be too slow. 11-2. Luxor Cafe is 9-1 with Jeff Banks Bet. Maybe not for much longer after Adam Mills talks about this race. Burnham Square 10, Sandman 10s. Baza is a 14-1 shot on East Avenue horse. I really liked as a juvenile, but he'll get murdered on the front end here. 20s. Same for Citizen Bull, who breaks from stall 1. Last horse to win from stall 1, the Kentucky Derby, was Adam Mills.
Not a clue.
I'll give you a clue.
Ferdinand.
I was going to say Rio.
Oh, that would have been a good clue, actually. That would have been a good clue. Okay, Adam Mills, break it down for us. Who do you think is going to take the Kentucky Derby crown?
So I've spent a lot of time going over the TPD data for hours on end looking at this race. First thing I'd say is Journalism is the best horse in this race by some distance. He is without doubt the power-packed, typical American dirt horse, big, long stride, well over 25 feet on average. If he gets the breaks and he's not too far back, he wins. The problem for Journalism is he's been running in Santa Anita in races of 5 and 6 runners where there's plenty of space. And if things go wrong, he can get himself out of trouble. It's no problem at all. When you've got 20 runners in a Kentucky Derby, there's a very good chance you'll have 4 or 5 in front of him that are stopping. So it does require a bit of a quirk, but his price is probably about right. Because actually, if you ran this race 4 times, he'd win at least one of them, probably 2, because he is the best horse in here. I agree on Sovereignty. At the start of the week, I thought maybe I'll back Sovereignty each way. I just wonder if he's quick enough. His top speed figure is always one of the slowest in the field. I think last time his top speed was 8th out of 9 runners. And what happens is, in the races Sovereignty's been winning, because he stays so well and he's got a long stride, the pace in front of him collapses and he wears them down. He's going to meet Journalism and a few others who might just do him. Luxor Cafe is the one where everyone goes, who knows? This could be anything. He's been so impressive in Japan. Jao Moreira's riding. His latest win is an interesting race because the race 12 months ago was won by a horse called T.O. Popcorn. That horse finished 5th in last year's Kentucky Derby. 12 months later, Luxor Cafe was 2 seconds faster than T.O. Popcorn. Now, different days, you can't really read too much into that, but it suggests he's got the speed. He finished in 12-second furlongs in Japan. The ideal draw. I don't know whether there's been some sort of skullduggery going on here, but you've got a Japanese pacemaker right next to Japan's main chance of winning this race. Because Admire Daytona won the UAE Derby. He takes 5 seconds to reach 30 miles an hour. You'll find some cars can't do that. This horse is absolutely electric from the gate. He will not stay there. How he beat Heart of Honour in Dubai is... so Jamie Osborne will never get that back. Unbelievable that he managed to cling on. But what he will do is give both Luxor Cafe and Journalism the ideal target to track. Personally, I think Journalism probably wins. Luxor Cafe is definitely worth the each way as he could be anything. I don't think this is as... because every now and then we get 100-1 winner, everyone goes, oh, the Kentucky Derby's a lottery. It's not.
Yeah.
The best horse will get the breaks 9 times out of 10. You shouldn't be put off Journalism and maybe Luxor Cafe if you fancy one at a bigger price.
And back in the day, they used to run sprinters in this race because the owners just wanted the buzz of having their runner in it. And that would lead it to be a little bit like the Triumph Hurdle when the Fred Winter didn't exist. It was a lottery of a race. Yeah. They changed the rules. You got to have accumulated enough points to be able to get into the race. So you have to have proven yourself to be a horse that can actually stay. And that's taken a little bit of the element of luck out of it. There have obviously been big priced winners of the race for sure, but it tends to go to the best horse. And Journalism absolutely looks that. But I would agree with everything you've just said. I have no idea if he's going to handle a bigger field. And he's just going to need to get the right breaks at the right time. Maybe they come. Maybe they do. I was disappointed that Sovereignty couldn't win a Gulfstream the other night. I know that track on the day probably didn't suit. And the winner would have been a big player in this race. He's on the sidelines. I just feel like Sovereignty is going to be better in the Belmont. And is Belmont's still not open, so it'll still be a 10 furlong race, won't it?
I believe so. It's at Saratoga, isn't it?
Yeah. So that kind of scuppered Sierra Leone last year. If that was a mile 4 race, he'd have been a good thing. But over the 10, he couldn't quite get there. So running that again over the 10 furlongs, that'll suit Sovereignty, I think. He'll probably win that race. Maybe he wins this. Not for me. I'm amazed Luxor Cafe is 9-1. Especially about what you were saying off air as well. Just very quickly on Beza. This seems really cruel that this horse might not get in. But if he does get in, what chance do you give him, Adam?
No, it wasn't on my list.
Okay.
Just the problem is you look at so many of these dirt races, and American dirt races are just it's all about the gate speed, the time to rear. How quick can you get into position? How quick can you get there? I kind of felt like the California form was where I wanted to go. That was where it seemed to make the most sense because it revolves around journalism. But if you draw various form lines on that side, all you end up doing is coming to the conclusion that journalism is going to win.
Yeah.
Because everything else, all their form ties in at Santa Anita. They've all had goes. Baeza got closer to him, but I really felt like journalism was dossing. And I think actually, if Baeza had actually got on turn, he'd have just gone by and pulled further out. I can't see how he reverses the form. I just can't. I don't think anything that journalism has already beaten is going to improve faster. It's just a question, will journalism get through?
Just before we started recording this race, I nearly had a complete and total breakdown when I saw Jericho de Repine had beaten Dodi the Great and the other horse from the Printemps at Punchestown today. Because first of all, the British, something's got to be done about this British domination of Punchestown. Something's got to be done about it. I'm not so sure. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely shocking. Oh, the Irish racing can't cope with the British domination. It's great to see. Yeah. How do we like it now? Well done to them. It's brilliant to see. It's great to see the British horses winning and doing so well. But that's just kind of further motivated me to play an exotic bet in this race, which makes no sense. There's no logic to that at all. But I'm very, very keen on the reverse forecast on Luxor Cafe and journalism, because journalism probably wins. I think Luxor Cafe, with the closing speed that he has in a race that's filled with gate speed, is the most likely horse to take advantage if journalism doesn't quite get there. But I can't see journalism not in, at least in the show.
I think you want to be trying to play the exotics, but I would be playing it the other way. I'd be looking at journalism or Luxor, and then I'd be looking at Sovereignty and maybe Sandman to run into second. That's where you're going to get the value. I'm reluctant to say I'm looking for plodders because that's not what they are.
Yeah.
But what you're really looking for is the stamina-laden things that haven't quite got the speed to get on terms at the final bend, but that'll keep going. Because I think if Luxor Cafe is in front of journalism and he gets headed, he'll fade. And I also think if journalism is in front and Luxor Cafe comes past him, I don't think he'll respond. So I'm kind of looking for what's going to be the one plodding on into third place. If you look back at the sort of last few Kentucky Derbies, last year's was a three-way go photo finish, really exciting race. But the previous ones, the value has been in the combination exactas and the trifectas, because you've always got something that isn't fast enough to go at the 2 furlong pole, but that will keep going.
That's a really that's a very good point to make.
What's the weather saying as well? Because I was reading some stuff that it might be a bit rainy in the next 2 or 3 days. Then there was another bloke on the social saying, well, you know, Churchill Downs drains quite well. It'll be absolutely fine if it rains. But there was a lot of people saying that could turn into, you know, a bit of a sloppy, muddy track or whatever. But I don't know if you've had a look at that.
There are. I think there's sort of thunderstorms and showers possibly. The one thing I would do say about all dirt racing, and we see this from the data at TPD. If it rains, don't have a bet.
Yeah.
Because the minute you get to a sloppy track, it's just completely different ball game. It's kind of the equivalent of starting a card here on good to firm. You have a thunderstorm, and then the last 4 races are run on heavy. All of the prices and all of the form in the morning were based on good to firm. Once that kind of change comes in, it wouldn't be for me, regardless of how prestigious the race is.
I'll tell you what. If it's a slop, Citizen Bull will make all and win.
Yeah, maybe. For Baffert as well, that'd be the story as well,
oh my goodness. Can we get the faces of the Churchill Downs executives if Bob Baffert wins the Kentucky Derby? Just to zoom in on the executives. That'd be funny.
It's still one, isn't it? Still one, the dreaded still one. Well, there's even a worse store, isn't there? The 17, which you mentioned, Sandman, Adam. So I don't think is that right? Ever been a winner from stall 17 in the whole history of the race or something like that?
The stalls either side of they have to build a special set of starting stalls because of the number of runners. But you have that gap where they sort of join together. The stalls either side of that can be a little bit inconvenienced just because of the way the stalls are positioned. You can win from a wide draw. It's not impossible, but I would always be thinking it looks to me like the pace is in stalls 1 to 10 more than it is the outside. And that's why I'd say I don't think Sandman can win. I don't think Sovereignty can win, but they might be staying on into second when everything else is finished.
Tell you what, it's interesting on a slop. Grande, he's by Curlin. Curlin loved the slop.
Curlin did, yeah. And isn't the favourite by Curling as well? No, is it?
No, he's by. Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, sorry, he is, of course.
Yeah.
I was thinking Into Mischief.
That might suit as well. You just don't know, do you? I mean, obviously, most of these have just been running on, fast services, so you just don't know. You're delving into the pedigrees, and then you're still sort of hoping a bit that the pedigree, materialises down the bloodline, but you just don't know, do you?
I will never forget the Americans losing their mind over Rags to Riches beating Curlin in the Belmont Stakes, and they going, "Oh, Colts can't get beaten by fillies. He's no good," and then he wins the Classic.
Yeah,
it was a terrible American accent, by the way. Apologies to our American brethren. We really appreciate your support of the show. Okay, Andy, what's your thoughts on the Kentucky Derby?
Let's just chuck some stats out there. We were talking about the draw. The siders that have won this, Rich Strike and Country House, 80 to 1 and whatever it was, 65 to 1. Both of those were drawn high, 19 and 20. So if there is going to be a shock, then it might be that. But realistically, I mean, look, Mystic Dan was drawn in 3 last year. We've mentioned Gate 1 having a bit of a graveyard stall. Great, and Gate 2 as well. I think the last one was affirmed, wasn't it, in 1978? So, last year Sierra Leone came from Gate 2, so it almost stopped that long run. But realistically, you want to get rid of 1 and 2. But look, 5, 8, 15, 16 and 7, right? So they're the sort of 5 you want to home in on, all right? So I'll go over them again. 5, 7, 8, 15 and 16.
Brings in journalism.
Between I think journalism's okay. Luxor Cafe's all right there. Those 5 gates, okay, in the last 31 runnings of the Kentucky Derby, have won 68% of them, all right? It's quite a lot, considering you've got the favourite in there, you've got American Promise, which is a bit of an outsider, but you never know. What's the other one? Juggernauts in there, Cold and Luxor, the one that Adams talked about, the Japanese horse. So plenty of ticks for the draw stats there. The other things to maybe touch on is the trial races. What are the best trial races? The Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, and the Arkansas Derby are the sort of the 3. And again, those have been, they produced 6 winners, 3 winners and 4 winners. Okay, so 13 winners between those 3 races, and it's another 68%. Florida Derby winner doesn't go, unfortunately, that Tappan Street, but the second does, Sovereignty. Journalism obviously won the Santa Anita, and Sandman took the Arkansas Derby, which was at the same race that Mystic Dan ran in last year, I think, came 3rd. So yeah, there's a bits and bobs to go on. Yeah. So look, the 2 I sort of came down on was the Japanese horse. I think it's not going to be long. They've never won a Kentucky Derby. They've come close. They've won the Dubai World Cup, and they're breaking new ground with their horses coming over. You look back at some of its races on YouTube. You can Google them. The turn of foot that is shown there, I just think that could be vital, providing this, the rain doesn't get in. And the only other one was that I just thought was slightly interesting was Final Gambit, which won the Jeff Ruby last time out, which was the race that Rich Strike ran in before it won the Kentucky Derby a few years back. So yeah, I just think that that's by what's that, Brad Cox Yard. They've won this once before, I think, as well. So that could go right. Drawn 3, same stall as last year's winner. But yeah, look, how many people are going to have publisher and journalism in the exacta? That's going to be the one, isn't it?
So, yeah. There's going to be quite a few people, I think, are going to be playing that sort of forecast exacta. I'm not entirely certain why American Pharaohs are called publisher. One is called publisher and a curling is called journalism. But hey, whatever. It's working out. If that brings the forecast to you, then fair enough. My forecast for this is pretty lazy. Luxor Cafe and journalism, but I'm going to take Luxor Cafe on top. And hopefully he gets the job done. George, your in-depth thoughts on the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I'm going to be very much in bed, resting up ahead of riding Larry on Sunday. But the lads know a lot more about this sort of thing than me, but I was pleased to hear Andy say if I was going to have a bet, I would have been on Final Gambit. I just thought he's got a very progressive profile. Like nothing's got near him the last twice, most recently in a Group 3. Brad Cox knows what he's doing. Like he's a hell of a trainer. I know that much. And he's in the same draw as last year's winner. So at 20-1, he'd do us an each way bet for me.
Yeah, he's switching to the dirt for the first time, but he's been good in the all-weather, and if he can translate that, then it's going to work out pretty well for him. All right, that is the look at the Kentucky Derby. It's going to be a cracking race. Best of luck to you if you're getting involved. You can watch it on Sky Sports Racing and on Racing TV. It's the Triple Crown. The horse that we all like is by the 2015 Triple Crown and Breeders' Cup Classic winner, American Pharaoh, Luxor Cafe for the Japanese. They've gone close to the American Grade 1s in the past. They obviously dominated the Breeders' Cup back in 2021. Hopefully, he's going to be in the winner's enclosure, but journalism is a serious source, and maybe he's just one for your multiples. Speaking of ones for your multiples, the 1,000 Guineas, or Betfred 1,000 Guineas, we should say, has a favourite that I suspect is going to be appearing in a lot of multiples. That's Desert Flower. For the Charlie Appleby and William Buick team. She's going to be very, very well fancied by a lot of people, and she is a red hot favourite at even money. Lake Victoria was a better horse last year. She's 7-2, but her preparation hasn't gone smooth. She is going to make the race, though, and Aidan O'Brien has been talking about her much more positively in recent days. She's already stayed the mile in America, but that was on a tight turning track in Del Mar. That being said, she absolutely bolted up that night, and 7-2 looks like a pretty fair price. Red Letter for Jurlines, Colin Keane will ride is a 5-1 shot. Bedtime Story is still in this race, but no guarantee that she actually runs. I think Aidan's just going to rely on the one. And Duty First, who was stunningly impressive at Newbury in Group 3 company, looks a big price to me at 14-1. Adam Mills, what's your thoughts on the first Fillies Classic of 2025?
I just think the market's got this right. The two best fillies are right at the top. And then I would have at least a £10 gap to everything else. So I think they've both got to underperform for there to be an upset. I know we sometimes get shocks in this race, but Desert Flower has achieved a massive amount. That Fillies Mile was really impressive. She didn't just win a Fillies Mile. She won by 5 lengths.
Yeah.
Lake Victoria's unbeaten as one at the Breeders' Cup. A prep may not have been great, but, Aidan wouldn't run it and wouldn't be sending her here if he didn't think she had a chance. I can't really imagine both of those are going to underperform. So it's kind of a difficult race. If I was going to have a swing each way, I don't like Duty First. I thought that Fred Darling was just a bit meh, a little bit weird. A really good ride. There was a bit of a bias on the day towards racing more prominently. I'd certainly be open to question that. Maybe Duty First has found tons of improvement. But if you look at her 2-year-old form and then you look at that Fred Darling, you'd think they were different horses. So I can't really get that excited about that. The one I did think was like, if Aidan O'Brien decided exactly is a very, very big price.
Yeah.
She won a Group 3 by 6 lengths at Leopardstown, albeit on soft ground. Her return at the end of March, she got beat by Swelter Dermot Wells, but actually I thought that was quite a good run, and I felt she shaped like a filly who was going to come on massively for the run. You can how can I put this? You wouldn't really think Ryan Moore would ride out a 5-6 favourite, particularly if he thinks he's not going to win. And it just felt to me like the way she shaped and the way she ran in the final furlong, like she needed that run. She had a wide draw as well. Her earlier form would give her a squeak in this. I don't think she'll beat the big two, but I thought she shouldn't be sort of 25s or 33s. I thought she should be closer to sort of 12. So she might be an each way play, but I think the market's probably got this right.
Yeah, I agree with you about exactly. I got the vibes they weren't going to run her.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain if I understand why. They can take her to France. They can go for the Irish 1,000 Guineas. But I mean, there's enough of a gap between this and the Irish Guineas meeting. be 23 days at least because it's my birthday weekend. So birthday weekend, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's going to be a fucking 3-day event. Deary me. No, it isn't. But please God, we'll be at the Curragh and we can hopefully enjoy that. I'll be doing some stuff for Quinbet that day. Please God, touch wood. Hopefully all will be going well. But 33-1 is the price with Jeff Banks bet about exactly. If she lines up, we're not going to know until Friday morning if they declare that's too big, way too big. And Winter was beaten in that 1,000 Guineas trial before coming on to win this race for Aidan O'Brien back in the day. Andy, your thoughts on the 1,000 Guineas?
I just think Desert Flower is... Look, she was super impressive, wasn't she? But I just don't know whether... I don't know, was it a great fillies mile? I mean, it's beating the same horse. I don't think it was. And yes, it won by, 5 lengths or so. But... it's beaten the same horse now twice, isn't it? January, and I always have a few little alarm bells going when the horses, they beating the same old things. It's a bit like John Bond sort of scenario from last week, So I don't know. Even money. Look, there's going to be plenty of people piling in and whacking it in doubles and trebles, like you say. But Buick's never won the Guineas either. That's not a massive thing to go on, but it's just something to bear in mind. And yeah, I mean, look, once we know the draw, we won't know that until, like you say, Friday. But realistically, the sort of 2 to 8 bracket is quite interesting. 11 of the last 17 have been sort of in there. There's only been one placed horse from stall 1 as well. So we'll see. I mean, if Desert Flower gets that, inside berth, that could be a reason to take her on. So we'll see. Look, I mean, it's obviously Lake Victoria, like you say, that's got the full top rated as well. You just wonder 5 races last year, the juvenile. Don't know really. Red Letter. I mean, there's a massive stat against Red Letter, but I do think it will improve for the step up to a mile. Where look, pretty much all of the last 23 winners, I think 21 of the last 23 finished in the top 3 last time out. Obviously, that came forth to Lake Victoria at the Curragh last time. But I do think that of those 3 at the top, I'd rather be looking at that at the value Red Letter, personally, just for the improvement. It's only had 3 runs, step up in trip. And, yeah, I mean, look, we got Bedtime Story. Is that going to go? I don't know. You might know more than me, Emmett. But is that worth talking about? Is that going to be value around sort of 14, 16 to 1?
Well, for sure, if she runs.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 runs last time. I mean, excuses. I mean, Long Shot, the soft, and actually ran on all right. To be honest with you, when it, seemingly had no chance, and the time before, at the Curragh was found to be lame or something, wasn't it as well? So, you put a line through that, then Aidan has won this many times in the past with his bigger priced. Last favourite to win this was Minding, was it, I think, quite a while ago. So it hasn't been a great, contest for the market leader. So look, if it goes, I'll be happy to have a little, swing at Bedtime Story. But of those at the top of the market, I think Red Letter for the improvement over the trip, personally.
Okay, Daughter of Frankel out of a Dark Angel mare for Ger Lines with Colin Keane on board. I really like exactly from an each way perspective, George, if she lines up. I don't think she will. And with that in mind, Lake Victoria just wins this race.
I'll just touch on that. So if exactly does line up, I'll have an each way play on her. She's one of, again, very few in this race that have actually had a run, even fewer that actually have a chance of winning. 8 career starts could very well stand to her here against some more inexperienced rivals. So beaten half a length in the Marcel Boussac, half a length in the debutante by Bedtime Story. And I thought stayed on very well over 7 on her seasonal debut to not get beaten all that far. Whether she runs or not, the main each way play for me is going to be Duty First. Then so one of very few that's had a run this season. 2 from 3 on good ground, the third being her racecourse debut. Like I said, she was a surprise winner of the Fred Darling, but I take Adam's point, she got a very good ride, but she won an emphatic style.
Yeah.
And the thing to take from that as well, Adam's point about there being a bias to being on the pace that day. You look through all her runs, she's been either ridden very prominently or made the running in all her starts, which says to me they are very confident she's going to get a mile. So I think she'll be in there for me. Worth mentioning as well that Archie Watson's absolutely flying.
Unreal.
Like he's He's on a 27% strike rate, which is 10 wins in the last 37 days. That doesn't tell half the story. He's had 9 seconds.
Wow.
19 of his last 37 have finished in the first 2. That's incredible going. Like they can do no wrong at the minute. So she might not be good enough to be the first 2, but I'm more than happy at the price way. And I'll probably play the O'Brien horse as well. Exactly, if she does turn up.
We picked a race from Yarmouth to preview for the feature on Sky Sports Racing today, and the traders at Quinbet, all they wanted to do was talk about this horse Spy Kingdom for Archie Watson, who somehow managed to get beat. He'd been second in the Wood Didn't, but he was sent off a red-hot favourite. That's a winner in waiting, but just another example of the Archie Watson horses in flying form. I think Judy First is a big player. Exactly would be a pretty tasty each-way bet for me if she lines up. Lake Victoria is in a different league. And Desert Flower is good. Lake Victoria's form is better. She'll win this. To the Betfred Pretty Polly Stakes, the listed race over 10 furlongs. We've got a number of 3-year-olds who are going to be making their seasonal debuts. Which of them really stands out to you, Adam Mills?
This is really hard. I mean, we're doing this without decks as well. But there's kind of anything's open to improvement. I looked at the anti-post market. I couldn't really understand what here the 5-2 favourite. That just seems wrong to me. That Wolverhampton form is very suspect. Life is Rosy in second, beaten 5 lengths, has been rated in the mid-70s. Gaia in third is 0 from 5. And the fourth is a horse called String of Pearls. That needs to be in your tracker. If ever you wanted to see a Sir Mark Prescott, Kirsten Rousing, up-in-trip handicap debut plot, this is it. The horse is absolutely crying out for a mile 6. We had 3 runs over a mile to get a handicap mark. That's in the tracker for that. But for that reason, I just thought Falakia was just too short, and I can happily let her win at that price. If Sand Gazelle runs for the Gosdens, she would be my bet. I was really impressed with what she did. It was a nothing race at Kempton in December. You don't see too many win there and go on to better things. She was 20-1 on the day, which would suggest they didn't think much of her either. But from midfield, she was really green. And then all of a sudden, the penny dropped in the final 3 furlongs, and she went whoosh. 1 going away, really promising. What the form's worth in behind her, I'm not sure. But she did so much wrong on debut from a wide draw and still won. If the Gosdens were bold enough to throw her straight into a listed race on her second start, I'd have to.
They got a good record in this race as well, Adam.
6 winners in 10 years. I think it's a really good shout. Yeah, with Kieran Schumacher on board as well. Sand Gazelle is a 7-1 shot as we're recording with Jeff Banks Bet. Andy Newton for you?
Yeah, look, I agree with the favourite, the form of that all-weather win last time out. It's taken a few knocks in, so to look elsewhere for that. The other thing to, we just spoke about the Gosden horse. We know they've got a good record in this race, so that's going to be certainly one to look at. But Ralph Beckett's got, I think, 3 in this, doesn't he? And look, he won this in the past with Talent, who went on and won the Oaks. So at the moment, Ross O'Brien is jocked up to ride 2 of them, which will be interesting. Oh, in fact, all 3 of them. So we'll see what happens there. He might need to.
He wants to ride in the race.
Yeah, he wants to ride exactly. So let's see what happens there with the entries. He's got that's a more Revoir and. Like a lot, so we'll see which one he comes down on. Maybe you run all 3, but the only other one was that Quinling Queen for Ed Walker if it gets a final entry, only because it came second in a listed race at Haydock, so we know that it can perform sort of in and around this sort of level. Ed Walker does very, very well with his 3-year-olds at the track. I think he's got a 23% strike rate. The form of that race last time out, I think, has been franked since. So, longer trips should suit as well, up to 1.25 miles. Suggest it would. I think there's some See the Stars in the bloodline somewhere along the line. So, look, that Quinling Queen as well, I think, is going to be the main play for me. But we'll keep an eye on the Beckett ones and see what happens with the entries.
There's been a betting system that you could just follow blindly this season. I think Adam already knows what I'm going to say. Just back an ex-Sir Michael Stout horse, first time up for a new trainer. I don't know what was going on with him towards the end of last season, but Anna Swan was really good in her first 2 starts, and then she was awful and drifted considerably in the betting in the Fillies Mile. Makes her debut for William Haggis. Tom Marquander's on board. They've won this race a few years ago. They can win it again with the ex-Michael Stout horse, Anna Swan. George?
I found an interesting way into this race, really. So you're looking through it. As I was looking at the two Rafe Beckett also went, God, it's a bit of an unknown that both of them won their only race on heavy. And then I went, well, the Menuisier horse won its only race on soft ground, and everything else has won its only race on the all-weather. There are only 3 horses in this master. They are Anna Swan, Colleen Quinn, and the outside of the whole lot, Elsie's Rouen. And the only thing that made my decision for me out of the other 2 was the Michael Stout angle. Like, you hate to say it about such a fantastic trainer, but a lot of them are winning on their first start for their new trainers, and some of them over drastically different trips, which is a really bad look. But look, on racecourse debut, she won on good to firm first time out at Yarmouth for Sir Michael Stout. For him to have a first time out winner, for him to have a racecourse debut winner when he was so badly out of form, how good could this thing be? She then obviously she won the fillies conditions on soft ground, in fairness, at Newbury. She pulled far too hard in the fillies mile. I just think with a summer to adapt to the new surroundings, she could potentially be a lot better. And it's, as you call it what it is, it's the leaving Sir Michael Stout angle. As much as it's an awful thing to have to say, it's a trend we can't ignore. And she marginally gets the... She's my main selection, but I very nearly land on Colleen Quinn if it wasn't for the Stout angle.
Do you know how many winners Sir Michael Stout had last year?
Was it like 6 or something?
Single figures, isn't it?
Okay. It wasn't quite that bad. Adam, do you remember how many winners he had last year?
No, I'll say higher than 6 though. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Surely.
It was obviously hard to 6. Andy?
Yeah. Let's go 12.
It was 26.
26 was still pretty bad by his standards, isn't it?
The quality
26
of horse,
is awful. In his previous 5 seasons, he'd had 158 winners. Last season, he had 26. Like, I don't know what was going on there. I really don't. They just didn't seem to be firing at all. And they're winning. They're winning first time out for New Connections. So, and it's won. We're all over it, baby. The Betfred Dalia Stakes, Group 2, fillies and mares again. Over the mile 1, we've got a red-hot favourite for the Charlie Appleby and William Buick duo with Cinderella's Dream, who showed pretty decent form out in Meydan and obviously was doing very well in America last season as well. The 1,000 Guineas winner from last year, El Malka, is a 13-8 shot. Running Lion, who's gone well in this race in the past, is a 7-4 shot. And then it's basically whatever price you want about the rest of them. So which of them are you expecting to come out on top from the top 3 in the betting? Or can there be a shock in this race, Adam Mills?
No shock for me. I wouldn't really give any of the others a particular chance. I'm going to take a chance on Running Lion. I just think she's got a good record. She's won the Pretty Polly here 2 years ago. Somehow conceded to get herself beat last year in this race. But generally speaking, her form is strong enough to make me think she's probably better than these. She won a Duke of Cambridge. Good run at Paris Longchamp. The Goslings can get her right first time up for the season. I didn't really like the Meydan form of Cinderella's Dream. She doesn't really excite me enough to make me think that she's suddenly going to develop into this sort of 125 rated filly. So I don't think of level weight she'll beat Running Lion at a track we know she handles. And as for El Malka, I just thought that was a lucky win in the 1,000 Guineas.
Yeah.
Maybe I felt like if you'd run that race 10 times, you'd have got 10 different winners last year. So for that reason, her form didn't really go on from that. Certainly, if you look at things like RPRs, her best RPR was in the Guineas and nothing quite got to that level again. So for that reason, I've got to take her on. Running Lion is the sort of solid option.
How sorry to cut across you, just how El Malka beat Porta Fortuna, Ramatuel and Tamfana is one of life's mysteries. I don't get it. D'Souza, genius. Roger Varian, genius. Not in this race. Running Lion for me as well. Andy?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing to say about Running Lion, when it won the Pretty Polly, it did have a run, I think, in April. It won that, didn't it? So, I mean, it has gone well fresh in the past, but last year when it came second in this, it was its first time out, wasn't it? So, might be something there, I don't know. Varian, his stats as well here would be a little bit alarming. He's only 2 from 31 with his, 4-year-old.
It should be 3 from 31, though. Jesus, that horse at Ascot was unbelievably unlucky. Oh my God.
Yeah, no. What I mean is the literally just at Newmarket. His 4-year-old stats here. 2 from 3.
Oh,
but yeah,
sorry. Apologies.
Yeah. No, but you're right. I mean that one at Ascot, should have gone in. But yeah, look here, his strike rate is pretty dire, to be honest. And his form at the moment, it's a little bit skew-whiffy as well. Two from the last 17 or something, or 20. I can't remember if it's updated yet.
Amazingly, it's improved. It's improved. He's 5 from 22 now. And that gully should have won. Yeah. Oh my goodness! By the way, I have no interest in having a pop at D'Souza. Gap didn't open. He's there. There's nothing he can do. There is no gap coming. Maybe anybody wants to disagree with me on that. Does anybody want to bash Sylvester D'Souza for a ride that he probably wants to put in the rear view mirror?
No. Not for that ride.
Yeah, no, the gap didn't open. There's nothing he can do. There's just nothing he can do. It's just one. Oh man, what a horrible beat though. Okay, Andy, final selection.
So look, based on that, I think I'll just go with Cinderella's Dream. You know, we as we said, the boys in blue are going super duper at the moment. It was turned over at a silly price last time out at Maydam, but we know it stays. And I think that she probably just looks the most solid, to be honest.
Okay, and George.
Andy's going to love this. I'm with the same horse as him, and it's a stat-packed reasoning for it. Cinderella's Dream is 4 from 6 off the back of breaks to 60 day or more, beaten less than the length on the other 2 occasions. This will be 63 days. El Malka, 0 from 3 off back of breaks 60 days or more, running line 2 from 6. Of her 6 career victories, 2 have come on firm, 1 on good to firm, 3 on good. She's joint highest rated with running line on ORs and only £1 below on RPRs. It's Cinderella's Dream for me.
Scratch that original selection. I'm with the boys in blue in this race.
Yeah.
3 from 6 in 2 places for Cinderella Dream off the back of 60 days or more of a break.
I've included a racecourse debut in that as well.
Running line has won 4 times off a. Now, what are you talking about, man? 4 runs off a break of 60 days or more, 2 wins, 2 places. Never mind that. Keep that in.
4.
Running line.
Well, I've got 6.
Running line wins. Best of luck to you both with Cinderella's Dream. You might be right, but Adam and I are with Running Line. We'll see how it goes. Last race is the Betfred Handicap Heritage Handicap. Betfred Handicap Heritage Handicap. Really rolls off the tongue. Oisin Murphy and Andrew Balding have got the 3-1 favourite with Contecto with Jeff Banks bet, joined just now by Liam Swagger. 5-1 about Kiva, who was really good at Musselburgh the other day. Very, very brave. Backing up after a pipe opener at Ayr. Goes well after a quick run in the past. This is 15 days. Charlie Johnston's Align the Stars, who's promised a lot back in the day, but God, he was very disappointing towards the end of last season. And Wild Waves ran a big race in the St. Ledger, but has a lot of ground to make up with Kiva from Musselburgh. Maybe he will take a big step forward here. Oisin Murphy, Andrew Balding. Also, we know Oisin wants to ride in the race. Who's he going to be on is the question. Adam, for you.
It's a really difficult sort of race to end the podcast on. My biggest bet of the flat season so far was Align the Stars at Musselburgh. And he duly finished 14 for 14, which was kind of a frustrating thing. Trainers report couldn't find anything. The jockey said, we didn't get to the front and that was it. Never travelling. Vet couldn't find anything. It wouldn't be unlike the Johnsons to turn him round, but, once bitten, twice shy. I think he's a very good horse, but I just can't be having that run at Musselburgh. It was so rancid. I did kind of lean towards, I'm going to watch the market because there's no way a Sir Mark Prescott handicap double-figure price. But Blinded by the Lights was a very promising horse 2 years ago. We've only seen him once since in a 4-runner race at Newcastle. It was slowly run, never going to suit. It's absolutely crying out for big testosterone, a big field. I think the ground will suit. The fact that they're persisting with this horse after all the issues he's had is interesting. The sniper Luke Norris is booked, so we are definitely going to be ridden out for a place if we line up. It's just the absence and the injury would concern me, but I think he's miles better than a mark of 82. It's just whether time has taken its toll. If there's market confidence behind him, I'll stick with him. But it's strange. If he goes off 16s, I wouldn't want to touch him. But if he goes off sort of 13 to 2, 7 to 1, I'll probably have a few quid each way. Because if they think he's right, I think he's got a lot in hand.
Okay, I like that. He has been cut to 9 to 1, as you've been talking. So I don't know whether one of the boys, one of you two do something?
Yeah, I mean, that Prescott horse. I mean, you can see that. I mean, it's only got 8 stone 7 or something, isn't it?
That's a yes from Andy. Andy bloody well. He got stuck in.
I don't know. You
As
can
Adam
just see
is
it being
talking, he's like, I'm not waiting for this show to go live. Let's just take Blinded by Lights now. All right, fair play, Andy. Fair play. Do you like Blinded by the Lights as well? Gee, I wonder, do you?
Well, yeah, but I think it's going to be one of these horses maybe after this race that's going to mop up like a load of, Yarmouth and Brighton and do the old classics Prescott thing. We'll see. Look, I'm going back to Adam's original one. A line. Yeah, look, that last race at Musselburgh, right? Absolutely shocking at Rocking, wasn't it? But why are they bringing it out 15 days? Okay, that to me is interesting. Charlie Johnson's got 3 entered in here. Knightswood won last time out. Can't really have that because it's up in the weights. I think it might be the career best here. And they've got another one down the bottom, Struth, I think it's called. But look, Align the Stars is the only one with a jockey booking at the moment with Joe Fanning on. Wouldn't surprise me if it bounces back. I mean, it's third to that Al Kareem at Nottingham in a listed race. You take that, it's going to have every chance here. Don't know. And look, Charlie Johnson, I think he's probably got the best strike rate of all the trainers on show here with his 4-year-olds at the track, something like a 19% strike rate. So the fact they've got 3 in it at the moment indicates to me that they're trying to go for it.
Okay.
We'll see.
I like that. That Knightswood is a horse that would just completely break your brain.
Oh, God. Yeah, remember last year? Yeah. Oh.
George Gorman.
Yeah. I'm with Liam Swagger here. He's yet to win on the turf, but he was beaten a short head at Salisbury off a £3 lower mark. That was on Good to Firm back in June. But I think a successful hurdling campaign, obviously he had a listed win and he was third in the Fred Winter. Like that hurdling campaign may well have trained a bit more stamina into him, because you looked at him the last time out over mile 6 at Chelmsford. He's staying on all the time. His only previous attempt at a mile 6 was at Sandown in July. He looked to complete non-stayer. So I think you could take the point that Chelmsford's more of a speed track than Sandown, but I think it's far more likely that the season the season over hurdles has trained a bit more stamina into him. So he'll have been trained differently. He'll have been doing more work. He would have changed physically. This is way less of a speed track than Chelmsford, and I think it'll help him use his sort of newfound jumping stamina better.
He gets Harry Davis for the first time, and he's had 8 winners in the last 14 days. All right, naps time, gentlemen. Best bets of the weekend. Adam Mills, kick it off.
Washington Heights on Saturday.
Andy Newton.
It's up there. It's up there. Look, I think I'm going to sort of chuck a few out there. Look, Unequalled Love is a horse that runs in the 110 at Newmarket. Should go okay. Won the race last year. Haggis has won 3 of the last 6. Washington Heights is on the list as well. That's going to be the next best. We know the Newmarket form, 221, loves it there. And then look, there's a couple that we, I think they're on ITV. One at Thirsk, Mr. King. Each way, I think it will improve for its first run at Redcar. Gets a £6 pull with that Cruyff turn that finished ahead of it. And I know George liked that Duty First in the Guineas. That obviously won the Fred Darling. Betty Clover was 4th in that. That runs in the 2 o'clock at Goodwood. So we'll see what happens there. That could frank the form for the Fred Darling form. That was 4th, stayed on well. I just thought that might be interesting at Goodwood at 2 o'clock. But yeah. Washington Heights, Unequalled Love, the 2 main ones, I think.
Great. George Gorman.
I would just give a mention to obviously Cosmic View runs on Friday and the King Charles II, like massive potential, wide margin winner, both career starts, and he's got a run under his belt. I think he's a shade of odds on, but he should be a hell of a lot shorter. He'd have had a right chance if it showed up in the Guineas. So that would probably be my nap away from the ones we've mentioned. Of the ones we've mentioned, yeah, Washington Heights would be up there, but I'll go away from that, and I will be going with Shadow of Light in the... No, sorry, I won't. I will be going with... Sorry, I've lost it here. I'll be going with Cinderella's Dream in the Dalia.
Okay. Lucky 15 for me. Washington Heights. Obviously. Nap of the weekend. Bridal job with bells on. Smoke screen gamble. All the usual cliches. Cannot be beaten. Not a guarantee. Batteries not included. No refunds. Expanded into 2,000 guineas. Anna Swan's a good thing. And Lake Victoria, I think. I'm almost tempted to just do a Lucky 31 and throw in one of Luxor Cafe or Journalism, probably Luxor Cafe at the prices of 9-1. But that'll be the main place for me. Right, that's it. Thank you very much for watching or listening to this episode of the Final Furlong Podcast. If you haven't already, likes are much appreciated on YouTube. We would really appreciate the old free like. That's all it's going to cost you nothing except this level of effort. Boom. Like. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's a massive help to us with the algorithm. From Adam Mills, who's back with us next weekend to break down all the big races. Declan Carroll makes his debut on the Final Furlong Podcast as we look back on all the big races from Fairyhouse. Andy will be here with us again on Thursday, previewing the weekend's racing. And George is going to be with us next week as well. If you like the show, likes and shares are much appreciated on social media. From Adam Mills, Andy Newton, George Gorman, and me, Emmet Kennedy. Look after yourself and each other. Have a great weekend. Have a great bank holiday weekend for that matter. God bless.
In horse racing, every furlong matters and every episode counts. So stay ahead of the field by hitting subscribe to the Final Furlong Podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. It's free and it gets you one step closer to the winner's enclosure. Subscribe to the Final Furlong Podcast and join us on the gravy train.